I didn't plan to write this, honestly. I'm still trying to laugh about it instead of letting it live rent-free in my head, but here we are. This year was supposed to be my proof year. I don't mean that in an ego way. I mean the kind of year where you finally feel like all the late nights, the extra ownership, the constant, sure, I can take that on, actually added up to something tangible. For the first time in my career, I could look at my performance and say, objectively, I delivered. Not, I tried hard, not, I was busy. Delivered. My metrics were strong, projects landed, stakeholders were happy. I was frequently pulled into work outside my role because I was reliable. When reviews came around, my performance wasn't just good, it was consistently described as being at the top of my peer group. So when bonus season approached, I wasn't expecting fireworks, I wasn't expecting to be crowned Employee of the Year, I just expected alignment. If performance mattered, this should reflect it. It didn't. When bonuses were announced, mine was noticeably lower than I anticipated. Not catastrophic, but confusing, especially when I learned that peers with objectively lower output had received more. At first, I assumed I was missing context, maybe budget constraints, maybe weighting I didn't understand, maybe something I genuinely overlooked. So I did what every workplace guide, HR blog, and how to advocate for yourself article says to do. I asked professionally. I set up a one-on-one with my manager. I came prepared, calmly, respectfully. I didn't accuse. I didn't compare myself to others by name. I asked for clarity. I said something along the lines of, I want to understand how the bonus decision was made because based on my performance and feedback this year, I expected something different. That was it. No ultimatums, no attitude, no threats, just a question. My manager didn't seem defensive. She said she understood my concern and offered to escalate the discussion to get more insight. I thanked her. I left the meeting thinking, okay, maybe nothing changes, but at least this was handled like adults. That was my first mistake. What I didn't know at the time was that the story changed the moment it left my mouth. When the escalation happened, it wasn't framed as a high performer seeking clarity. It was framed as something else entirely. I wasn't in the room. I didn't get to hear it firsthand. But the outcome made it very clear that whatever was said wasn't accurate. Days later, I was pulled into another conversation. The tone was different, colder. Suddenly, this wasn't about understanding a bonus structure. It was about my approach, my expectations, my reaction to feedback. Feedback I hadn't received before. No one questioned my performance. That's the part that still messes with my head. Not once did anyone say my work wasn't strong. Not once did they say I hadn't earned what I got. Instead, the issue became that I had spoken up at all. Somehow, asking a professional question had turned into a narrative about entitlement, about being difficult, about not being grateful. Then came the final blow. I was informed that a second bonus, one I had already been told I was eligible for, was being revoked, not reduced, not delayed, gone. The reason given was vague, something about overall considerations, something about alignment. Nothing concrete, nothing tied to results, just consequences. I remember sitting there, nodding, keeping my face neutral, while internally my brain was scrambling to reconcile what was happening. I had done everything right. I had followed the script we're all told to follow. Advocate respectfully, ask questions, communicate openly. And for that, I was being financially penalized. What makes this harder isn't just the money, it's the lesson. The lesson seems to be performance is rewarded unless you acknowledge it yourself. Speak up, but only if you're prepared to be labeled a problem. Transparency is encouraged until it's inconvenient. I keep replaying the moment I booked that first meeting. If I had stayed quiet, I would have kept the second bonus. I would have walked away disappointed but intact. Instead, I tried to have an adult conversation, and it cost me. I don't want revenge. I don't want to expose anyone. I'm not trying to burn bridges or play politics. I'm just sitting with the uncomfortable realization that sometimes the punishment isn't for poor performance, it's for reminding people that you know your worth. Right now, I'm oscillating between disbelief and dark humor, telling myself this will be a funny story one day, outsourcing my pettiness to the internet because it feels safer than letting it harden into bitterness. But if there's one thing I can't shake, it's this. I didn't lose that bonus because I failed. I lost it because I asked why I succeeded and expected it to matter.